get Japheth out of the Bible dictionary too, Elder Lawya, because there's some confusion concerning Japheth. You have people here today, well, because they understand that white people or Europeans are now living in Japhetic land, by default are teaching that Jewish people and white people over in Europe are Japheth. Incorrect. The original European people, okay, Asia Minor, why do you think they call it Asia Minor, which is Europe? Asia Minor because it's Asia. Okay. China, England, Russia, all these places were originally ran or controlled and given to Asian people. It wasn't until the time of Alexander the Greek, really, that the Europeans really began to gain a stronghold to take over that land. Well, before that, Japheth, the grandson of Esau, went into Greece. He's buried there till this day in Cyprus. Okay, I'm speaking of, that's right, Esau's grandson. He took a troop of Edomites and began to make a stronghold over there, okay, in Greece. Then they went into the lands of Europe and became British royalty. Okay, German royalty. Now, what I'm saying is this isn't some scholastic breakthrough here. All you have to do, if you would like, just follow the history and look up Zepho. Go into the records of Zepho, Zepho. Look it up yourself. Esau's grandson. And this will give you the understanding of how white people got into Europe and became British royalty eventually. Okay? So no, they're not from Europe. They conquered Europe, just like any other place. Or get yourself a Jewish encyclopedia, if you may. I went and brought some of the oldest Jewish encyclopedias for my library. And look up Edom. And even in the Jewish encyclopedia, it tells you Edom is Rome. The fourth beast. In their studies. Elder Lawya, let's get Japheth out of the Bible dictionary real quick.
Yes, Japheth, son of Noah, had 7 sons. Descendants occupied Isles of the Gentiles.
Isles of the Gentiles. So when people see that word Isles of the Gentiles, you'll have some teachings out there that would say, well, the Gentiles are only Japheth. Because it tells you in the scriptures that they would inhabit the Isles of the Gentiles. What are you talking about? The Isles of the Gentiles, it's speaking of the islands and the areas within the Mediterranean Sea. So all those areas, the Greek islands and all that, the Isles of the Gentiles is because the Mediterranean Sea, which is the Great Sea, is where all the nations divided the land around. So it's not just speaking of Japheth. It says he inhabited the Isles of the Gentiles. It didn't say there that Japheth is the Gentiles. They're just one of many Gentiles. Right? Now that we've gone there, right? Let's go to where they claim or try to say, well, the white man is Japheth because he would be in the tents of Shem. And this is where the white people were amongst Shem, which makes them Japheth. You have that teaching out there too, that the white man is Japheth because he would be in the tents of Shem. We're going to clear that up. How are we going to clear that up? We're going to read it in the Bible, and I need you to show the Septuagint right there for them, Elder Lawya. The Septuagint, which we have here, and we made sure we got the reprint of the 1851 translation. Sir Lancelot, C.O. Brenton, 1851. Right? So now, I said we're going to go into some of these books, right? Now you see what a lot of you be missing in these academies, folks. Right? We're going to get the same chapter and verse. Okay. The same chapter and verse in the Bible we'll get out of the Septuagint, because the Septuagint was translated, believe it or not, out of the Hebrew into Greek well before the Old Testament we have was translated under King James authority. So what we do is we parallel them to see if there's more in-depth understanding from the original translation, which is the Septuagint. Okay, just to give it more clarity. Okay, and to take down some of the what you would call theories that come from misunderstanding the Bible. All right, because there's a theory that the white man or the European is Japheth, who dwelled in the tents of Shem. That philosophy. Read it real quick, Elder Lawya.
Yes, sir. I'm going to start in Genesis chapter 9, verse 18, and then I'll jump around.
Come on.
Genesis chapter 9, verse number 18. And the sons of Noah that went forth of the ark were Shem and Ham and Japheth. And Ham is the father of Canaan. These are the three sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread.
And through them, the whole earth was overspread. You got that? Read.
Jumping to verse number 26. And he said, Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant.
And Canaan shall be his servant. Okay, so as we know, according to the Bible, Canaan was to serve who? Shem. A line out of Shem, Canaan would serve. Right? Read.
Verse 27. God shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem.
Oh, man, go back to there, because there's something key I want to bring out of that.
Verse 26. And he said, Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant.
And Canaan shall be his servant. So through Christian philosophy and theology, what they're teaching is that we're the Canaanites, we're the Hamites, the cursed seed of Canaan, who was born to serve the white man, Shem. So by default, if they're claiming to be Israelites, and that's taught in modern day theology in our captivity, while in captivity, we would begin to think, well, slavery is because the Old Testament prophesied that Canaan, a son of Ham, would serve Shem, the Jewish people. We were meant to be slaves to them. And this is, believe it or not, the foundation of how they teach in our communities who's who. When Zondervan even said, not the Negroes, we're not Canaanites. We're not Canaanites. We're not. Okay. Esau is part Canaanite. He left his father and mother, went against their wishes, and had children in Mount Seir with the Canaanites. They're part Canaanites, not us. I wanted to put that out there. Go on.
Verse 27. The Most High shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem.
And he shall dwell in the tents of Shem. Now listen to this again. Is it talking about Japheth here in particular? Or is it talking about God in particular? Is it talking about Japheth dwelling in the tents of Shem, or God dwelling in the tents of Shem? Read it again.
Verse 27. The Most High shall enlarge Japheth.
God shall enlarge Japheth, which means the Chinese and the Asians, they will have a lot of kids. Did God bless them with that? Yes. Look how overpopulated China is. So the Most High did exactly what the Old Testament said he would do. He have enlarged Japheth. Speaking of God, read.
And he shall dwell in the tents of Shem.
And God shall dwell in the tents, but God shall dwell in the tents of Shem. It's not saying Japheth is going to dwell in the tents of Shem. It's speaking of that same God who've enlarged Japheth. See? God shall enlarge Japheth, and God shall dwell in the tents of Shem. So the true doctrine, or what this world would call religion, would come out of Shem. So even though the Lord blessed Japheth with a lot of children, he would bring a chosen seed by dwelling in the tent of Shem. And this happened when the Lord came down on the holy tabernacle amongst the Levites. When he gave God's law, his law to Moses, he was dwelling in the tent of Shem. See? Now let's read that same chapter in verse, Elder Lawya, out of the Septuagint. Right?
Genesis 9:26 in the Septuagint. And he said, Blessed be the Lord God of Shem.
Blessed be the Lord God of Shem.
And Canaan shall be his bondservant.
And Canaan shall be his bondservant.
May God make room for Japheth.
And may God make room for Japheth.
And let him dwell in the habitations of Shem.
And let him dwell in the habitation of Shem.
And let Canaan be his servant.
And let Canaan be his servant. Okay. So when you look at the details, it's not speaking of Japheth itself. It's speaking of God's position amongst the Gentile races. That's what it's speaking about. Okay?
Mm-hmm. If you don't mind, I'll read it real quick here in the book of Jubilees, chapter 7, verse 10.
Now we're in the book of Jubilees, 7 and 10. Another record, Jubilees, which was given to Moses. Okay, it was given to Moses, breaking down the secrets of the time, which is actually explained in the Apocrypha, 2nd Esdras 14. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
We're in the book of Jubilees.
Jubilees, chapter 7, verse 10.
Come on.
And Noah awoke from his sleep and knew all that his younger son had done unto him.
Noah awoke from his sleep and knew all that his younger son had done unto him.
And he cursed his son and said, Cursed be Canaan, and enslaved servant shall he be unto his brethren. And he blessed Shem and said, Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. The Most High shall enlarge Japheth, and the Most High shall dwell in the dwelling of Shem.
And the Most High shall dwell in the dwelling of Shem. So you use all those records to clear it up. It's speaking of God's position amongst the nations after the flood.
Mm-hmm.
It's not saying Japheth will dwell in the tents of Shem. So that totally destroys that theory they're putting out there that the white man is Japheth. Okay. It destroys that.